All right, what I want you to do, first of all, it is 7-4 probability. And I need you today to go ahead and hit pause and copy all of this information down first. So go ahead and hit pause and do that. Well, the first thing that we're talking about is the number of outcomes. That is the number of possible results, okay? The outcomes of the situation. Simple events are one outcome or a collection of outcomes. So the simple event is whatever is the result of it, and that'll make more sense as we progress here. Probability, again, is the chance that something's going to happen, that the event will occur. So probability is, again, the chance, the likelihood of it happening. Well, P stands for probability, and in the parentheses will be whatever that event is. So probability of drawing a red card out of a deck of cards, it would say probability and then in parentheses red card. That would be the event. And it's the number of favorable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. So if you've got 5 red cards, then you would put 5 up above out of a possible number of cards. Let's say we have 20 cards. So you'd write 20 down below. Now for random, that means that there's no particular order. So we want to randomly choose when we do some type of survey. And again, we'll talk more about that as we go. A complementary event means that there's 2 events in which either one or the other must happen, but they cannot happen at the same time. For example, 40% is complementary to 60% because together they are 100%. So if I say that it's a 40% chance that it's going to rain, the complementary event is that it's a 60% chance that it will not rain. Okay? That's the complementary. Together they have to be 100%. So let's look at our first slide. And we've got some different events that are listed here. So we're going to kind of just go through these together. And it says the probability of choosing a tile that is D. So we're going to pretend that these are in a bag. We can't see them, and we're going to randomly draw them out. Okay? So what's the probability of choosing the letter D? Well, we have 1 that is a D, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tiles. So 1 out of a possible 10. And yes, you do always need to make certain your fractions are in simplest form. So now let's look at the letter I. How many have a letter I? Go ahead and write that down. Well, there's 1, 2, 3 I's out of a possible 10. And that is in simplest form. Now this event says choosing a B or E. So since it's an OR, we are looking to see B or E. And there are 2 that are a B or an E. So 2 out of 10, which we can reduce those by 2 to give me 1/5, 1 out of a 5 chance. Go ahead and hit pause, and I'm going to have you do the rest of those. So probability of an S, V, or L. So S, V, or an L. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 out of a possible 10, which I can divide those by 2 to get 2/5. Probability of drawing a tile that is not a vowel. So that would be V, S, D, B, L, S. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of a possible 10, which again divide by 2, and I get 3/5. Probability of drawing an A. How many A's do I have? 0. 0 out of 10, which is 0. 0 chance. Probability of drawing a red would be 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10, which again is 2/5. Okay? So let's look at our next one. It says roll one number cube. Well, number cube is like dice. Okay. Find the probability and write as a fraction, decimal, and a percent. Okay. That's what we are needing to do, is to write them as all three. So probability of drawing an even number. And again, we have roll a number cube. So we have a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, and a 6, because it's a cube. 6 sides. An even number would be 2, 4, 6. So that would be 3 out of 6, which equals 1/2. So there's the half. How would I write that as a percent? Well, to write that as a percent, we would simply write that over 100 and times 50. So 1 times 50 is 50. So my percent is 50%. And my decimal value would simply be taking 1 divided by 2 is what you could do. Would probably be the easiest. Or you can say 50 over 100 would be 50 hundredths. That's another possibility. So now let's do number 2, a 1 or a 2. Well, 1, 2, so there's 2 out of a possible 6, which equals 1/3. Okay, and to do this as a percent, we can again take this number and divide it. And when you divide it, you would see that you get 0.33 repeating, and we're going to round that to the nearest hundredths. So we can move our decimal over 2 places to get 33%. And the decimal, we already wrote that, so 0.33. Probability of getting a 7. Is there a 7? Nope, it's 0 out of 10. My decimal would be 0.0, and my percent would be 0%. Chances of getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or a 6, well, that's 6 out of 6, which equals 1 whole. And if we write that as a decimal, that would be 1.0. And if we write that as a percent, that'd be 100%. A number less than 5, well, it's got to be less than 5, so 1, 2, 3, and 4 would be, so 4 out of 6, which is 2/3. So that's my fraction. And again, 2/3, if I divide that, 2 divided by 3, I get 0.6666 repeating, so I round that to the hundredths to get 0.67. And writing that as a percent would be 0.6, excuse me, did that wrong. It would be, and again, 67 hundredths, so 67 over 100 equals 67%. Okay. So again, if you have any questions on these particular problems, certainly write those down. Some of your questions might be fractions to the decimal, or decimal to the percent, or percent to the decimal, and so forth. But all of those are important to know and understand and be able to work with them and convert from one to the other and so forth. So it's good practice, and yes, you will be required to do all 3 of those on your assignment dealing with that probability. Have a great night, and we will see you tomorrow.